Okay,
Are we ready?
we're ready. We're rolling.
Ooh.
I'm doing something with the paper. I don't even know. Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We have things to show off. Look, I finished the sweater and I blocked it and yeah. Hello.
You look so cute. I love that
Thank
green on you too.
Thank you.
It turned out just super cute.
We'll talk more about it in a second, but welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca. I finished something.
She has to, and then we'll introduce ourselves. So if you don't know who we are, hang on. Look and listen to the beads. You're gonna be like whacking and clacking against everything today.
All day.
All day. Look at that. That is just absolutely fantastic. And you have a new dress on.
And
right?
I have a new dress on.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta take this off.
You can see the straps through the shawl on the back. But I mean it's fine. It just accentuates the dress. So okay, so that was it. You're done.
That was it.
It's hot.
Well,
Here.
cashmere and silk and hotness.
Okay, come here. Give me something to hold. Okay, so it's before this goes somewhere crazy, we have to look. God, those beads are heavy. The whole thing is heavy. I mean, not heavy in a really bad way, but like making it. Look at that. Awesome. Oh my gosh, people have to see that. So. And that is the Edlothia, because I just put it in the newsletter. Edlothia crochet, wonderful.
Yep.
I did a small, quick profile in the email newsletter of crochet because I kind of feel bad because I haven't been crocheting much lately. So, stepping back for a second, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in very sunny and going to warm up ridiculously today, Brevard, North Carolina.
Liz and the Minion there.
Yes.
Have bare feet today because it's gonna warm up.
Oh, I get to see them. That's great. Okay. We're not going to subject you guys.
No, I'm not. No.
So I saw the weather report and I'm like, oh, good. It's going to be like 60 today. I don't have to wear my winter coat. And then I looked at my watch and went, it's 30 degrees outside right now.
Leaving the house at 30 degrees.
Actually, it might have been in the 20s when I looked at my watch this morning.
But it's going to warm up, spike up. Tomorrow's going to be like even warmer and, just a couple degrees warmer in the 60s.
Well, so I wore my cabled coat that I've knit in instead with this lovely, which I'll talk about in a minute, and mittens, and that was fine.
And tonight when you leave, you'll probably be leaving in a t-shirt because,
No, you forget who you're talking to.
I know.
I will still be wearing a sweater.
It'll be in the shade, so there'll be a sweater, but yeah.
It needs to be like 90 degrees for me to walk out of here in a t-shirt. It won't be quite that warm, but it will feel that warm.
70.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll see. Get
later.
That warm.
I get overheated though quite quickly here in the shop when I'm teaching lessons and stuff. So layers come on and off all the time. But I might be carrying layers and not wearing all of them on the way home, which is the reason I didn't want to wear my winter coat in. Yeah. Because oh my gosh.
I think it's Friday, one of the days later this week, it might be Thursday. I think it's Friday, is going to be 41 degrees. So we're going to have this wonderful uptick and then 41 degrees in rain.
Because technically it is still February.
Yeah.
February has to remind us of that before it's gone, right? So, it's funny how the variations in this, I feel like it looks like there's a thing happening right here, but it's totally not. Because I alternated skeins of not Daydream Diaries, because I love Daydream Diaries. Fiber Space DK for this sweater. This has been an odyssey, but this weekend I said, I'm trying to finish something every weekend. And this weekend I said, okay, I only have the sleeves. Maybe I can do this. And I'll get it out. I used 12-inch circulars for the first time because I started on Magic Loop and it was pulling because the purl side of the stitches, the back side of knit stitches is what shows on the outside. And I was trying Magic Loop I have way too many needles in here. I may or may not be able to find my little 12 inchers. I was trying Magic Loop, and there was a pull where I switched from one side to the other. Magic Loop is one really long needle that goes through half of it, loops,
And goes.
and then goes through the other. Yeah. And so, look, all my masks. So I was like, I think I was on these, and I was like, nope, not having it. It's pulling too much. I could have gotten longer. I think longer cables would have given more slack and allowed for that. But I said, why don't I try the 12 inchers, which I've never really used before. And it was a little crazy. Here they are. Because this is how big, like my hands were curled around it. Some people don't like the 4-inch tips on needles, on 16-inch needles, because they're too short for their hands, the feel in their hands. And so they, if given the option between 4-inch tips and 5-inch tips, they'll go with the longer tips if they have an interchangeable set.
But you can't do 16 inches around or less with 5-inch tips.
People will ask for that. They'll ask when they buy 16-inch length circulars, longer than this, for a hat. They're like, but I need longer tips, and we have to try to explain that's not really physically possible. We'd love it if there was. Anyway, moving on. This is a 12-incher, which was great for the sleeves. It worked till the very end. I switched to size 3, and I Magic Looped the cuffs. But this is probably, instead of probably, let's actually look. These tips, the part that's thicker before it starts to taper is only 2 inches. And then there's the taper and the bend in them. I had to take breaks because my hands were like cramping around the ends here a little. But I actually think that it went faster than they normally do. I did a sleeve at a time. I alternated skeins until it ran out. And then I finished the bottom of it. I will tell you on both of these sleeves, you can see where I alternated. It did not block out. The alternating kind of pulls a little tight, and that did not block out. And I realized when I blocked it, and it didn't need to be stretched at all. If anything, it relaxed a little bit when I blocked it. That wasn't going to regulate out, because the reason that would kind of settle out is if I had stretched and pinned things, then it might have that might have stretched out and not been as noticeable. But I just laid it out and kind of shuffled it into the size I wanted and let it dry, which means you can see along here where it stops puckering a little bit is where I went down to only one skein. So from here to the end is where I was no longer alternating skeins. I think it wouldn't have mattered if I alternated skeins or not with this yarn. There's other hand-dyed tonal yarns where skein to skein it will look so different. You will be glad you alternated skeins. So the biggest example of knowing where alternating skeins is this side has a seam.
Yeah.
And this side doesn't. Because, and you can see like it's a little floppy here because I laid it out flat, and so there might be a little bit of a fold where I didn't move around too much. But yeah, I knew as I was blocking this was not going to come out. But that's okay. I don't mind. In fact, some patterns will have you put in a side stitch so it looks like a seam, because it actually adds a little bit of structure to your sweater. If I had known it was going to do that, like next time if I'm alternating skeins down the armpit, I will probably put in a faux seam over here to match it. But if someone is actually taking the time to go around me and notice that one side has a seam and one side doesn't, I'm going to be like, make your own sweater, and put a word in at the end that I will not say on a family-friendly show. So I'm super, super excited about this and how it came out and the size and the drape. And if you, on Instagram, I posted a photo of this pre-blocking. You can compare it to what you see now. I will say feel-wise, it feels different having blocked it. Even Tina, shout out to Tina, said on Facebook, it looks great, you don't need to block it. And I'm like, I probably didn't. I was, I think it lies better in between.
I think it's settled.
I think when I laid it out, I was worried because it still looked puckery where the pearls in between this still look puckery. But after drying, I do think it's laying a lot better up here.
Yeah.
And Liz is saying that too. The whole thing did relax a little bit. People talk to me all the time about how superwash grows. And I'm like, really? What? It can. And this did a little, but I shoved it back into shape and it's a little bit bigger. Not a lot, but I also made sure when I laid it out, I didn't just smooth it out. If I had done that, the whole thing would be bigger. The sleeves, if you see the picture on Instagram, my sleeves were probably up here. And a little bit, and so it relaxed a little bit, but I'm not unhappy with that. It doesn't look too sloppy. There was the pucker is still there. People who saw it on the weekend too, and I tried it on with only one sleeve on, right? The drape is it's a little softer feeling, and it doesn't feel as springy. And so it depends, as I make a mess of my chair. It depends on what you like. If you like the kind of springy feel of the superwash, then you might not want to block it, but then you might never want to ever wash it because it will relax a little bit with washing. That's why some people don't like superwash merino. I might have been able to get it back to a little springiness by throwing it in the dryer for a couple of minutes, but that terrifies me, so I didn't. But yeah, so the feel of the stitches is a little more relaxed and it almost feels a little thinner, but for me, in a good way. I like the drapiness. I like, it's not, I think I picked the perfect size because it is not clinging too much to my midsection. There's a little bit with the end cuff here that I'm like not wishing it would kind of roll under a little bit, but that's kind of, when you twist to a cuff, it's kind of going to do that. Yeah. If my tummy was still wide down here, which is not my tummy area, that would take care of it. But it's not accentuating my tummy though. I like straight on, and I like that. I like that. Yes, I like it very much. I'm glad I did the whole 15 inches before I did the cuff because I'm not feeling self-conscious about this area, and that my when I have sweaters that come to here, which several of them do, this is an area that makes me feel a little self-conscious that my shirts are sticking out. Or my belly. The card tug. Yes, I will do that, and I will rearrange, and I'll do that. Because if it's here and my shirt is longer, sometimes my t-shirt will just sag and only show a little, and that's just looks sloppy. So this is fantastic. It took, I think, I kind of lost track, but I think it took 6 skeins of yarn. I was trying to count my ends and where I switched because I was switching not at the same time, which helps this even out. I'm pretty sure 6 is what I took out of inventory. This is how much I had left of my 6 ball. 12 grams. I weighed it. 12 grams. Yay. Yeah, I'm learning. The weighing master is like, aha, see? So 12 grams left. I came really close to needing a 7th skein, but I made it really long because I wanted it really long. And I'm so happy with it. So here's the dilemma. I was complaining to Liz about this over the weekend before I blocked it. I'm like, uh-oh. Because, okay, I look back at the instructions. Some of these sweaters have been going for so long, I forget what size I'm making. It's never happened to anyone in knitting, right? I should make notes on my pattern, I hear you saying. Yes, I know. I should make notes somewhere else, I hear someone else saying. Valid point. Didn't happen. So I counted my sweaters. Including this one, this weekend I have 6 sweaters going. I don't know what I'm making out of all of them. But somewhere along the way, I think my bust right now measures about 43 inches. And we've had that talk. I've talked with everyone about how the girls are bigger than a lot of the rest of me, although the midsection's kind of catching up. So sometimes I have to split the difference and not necessarily just go off the girl's size. I realized as I was finishing this up that I am making the 46-inch size for this. And when I laid it out flat and measured it, it was 22 inches across, which implies 44 inches. My bust is 43. But when you lay out a sweater and measure straight across, double the measurement does not take into account the whole girth. because usually there's a little bit of thickness where it's laying folded.
You're missing
Missing
between
an inch
half
or two.
an inch to 2 inches. Like,
Yeah, so
depending on yarn.
I was like, I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna let you finish your own sentence.
Okay.
Depending on the yarn, depending on how it's laying, is it laying really flat or is it kind of have some heft to it? So this probably came out about the right dimensions, about somewhere between 45 and 46 inches. Here's the issue I might have with some of the sweaters on needles right now. I think I started picking dimensions that were closer to 50 inches for some of my sweaters. And I'm a little worried they're going to be huge.
I think they'll be comfy. Like
You
your
keep
winter
saying
saw.
that, but will I be comfy if I feel like it's huge? That will not be comfortable.
Your
for me.
winter saw, I want to say, is a bigger size than the one you're wearing.
Yeah, the vintage all.
Yeah.
I'll measure that later. And that one I'm comfortable in, except the neckline is kind of huge. But that's the design of the sweater. That's not
Yeah.
a miscalculation on picking
Yeah.
the right size.
I think that depending on the look of the sweater, sometimes it, you know, you're not picking sweaters that are 10 plus inches positive ease. You're keeping it
yes,
within.
but I'm almost entering. Yeah,
you're keeping them within 6 inches of positive ease.
I forget how much ease this was supposed to have.
I don't think it was supposed to have as much as some, you know.
Some of the ones I'm making though that say that I picked the 50-inch size on, don't need that much positive ease though. Like
Either
the Golden Fern,
yeah.
I think I'm making the 50-inch size of that, and that one says 4 inches of positive ease, which would be the next size down. But I've come too far.
I think they'll all work out.
I hope so.
Well.
There's nothing like a sweater. Well, there's nothing like A, making a sweater too small and feeling huge in it, or B, making a sweater too big and feeling huge in it. Does that make sense? You know,
I
so
think
like,
it would be different if you were like me and putting 10 plus inches of positive ease in the sweater. It would be really, really.
It wouldn't be comfortable for me.
No.
Yeah,
but I think the amount you picked should be okay. I hope so.
Stay tuned. That's our cliffhanger.
Dun dun
Dun,
dun.
because you don't know. Like, I find out if I'm happy with what I picked and what I'm making. I think for some it'll work out. For some it might be borderline, and we'll just have to see. I'll still wear them because I'm putting this much work into them. I don't know if you can see the short rows on the back, but they show up more on one side than the other. And short rows in pearl, I think some of them are just going to show. I think it's this side.
Yeah, I see.
There's little holes.
Yeah.
You see really big holes, and not so much on that side. It's whether it was a knit German short row or a pearl. There's some that come out looser, and I have not figured out how to fix that because I haven't really experimented with it all that much. So I'm not super stressed about it though because it fits so well. If someone's like, I see 3 little holes on your back, I am going to find something that will be appropriately socially distanced to smack them with.
I think so. Also, they're on your back, so you can't see them.
Yeah. And if someone's staring at them, I'll just be like, dude, knit your own sweater. So, you know. So what are you working on right now? That kind of matches everything else you have.
I can't remember. It's the gartered fold over short road.
Oh, the thing that's gonna do this.
Yeah.
In the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully
we'll figure out the name by the time I post the description. And
we will.
The description.
And I apologize for forgetting the name.
Well, not like you're working on too many things or something.
I got 3 inches done on, or well, 3 extra inches added to my sleeve. So I did like,
I gotta say,
this much Sunday, and now I've got like an inch, but I need like 19 inches.
I gotta say that you sent me a photo of that, and I had to vaguely say maybe it's this one because the color was totally it looked kind of gray.
Yeah,
this is the problem with photography and video.
Like it looks navy blue there, but it's not.
A lovely, lovely, luscious teal with hints of green.
Yeah,
and it's just not. We had someone who looked at some photos of this and said, "Is it yellow, or have you?" And it does actually have a yellow compared to. It looks much more blue green, like a cooler green on there than in person, but it's still a lovely color. So, yeah, it's got more of a yellowish hue to it, but not like yellow, you know.
It's this one.
Oh, look at that. I gave her time to fold that to make it actually look like a sweater. It does look like a sweater. Look at you.
Yeah. I think I
That's
want
really
longer
cool.
sleeves, but I mean I could do
And you
3/4.
lizified that mightily,
I
right?
I did because I have a boss who loves math, and it was supposed to be done on like DK and a 6 needle, and
Oh, speaking of math, you go ahead.
Rebecca helped me figure out what size I should do on a 9 needle out of chunky yarn. So yeah, because I don't math well. I stumble across it. So
She goes, whoa, look.
yeah, I did
right.
math.
And sometimes, and most of the time it's right. Not sometimes, most of the time it's right. And I'm like, how'd you do that?
I stumbled across it. But yeah, I shortened it too because with my dresses and everything, I didn't want it being. I think like the sweater is supposed to be.
It's supposed to be long and drapey, kind of, right?
A traditional length cardi.
Yeah.
With the swoops in the front.
And the empire weave.
Yeah. And it wasn't. I finished a hat.
Oh, you made that. Oh, that's right. You were knitting on that last weekend.
Yeah.
Is that another fisherman's wife beret?
It's my fisherman's wife beret because I can do it in a day. And
and then you make them in different colors and you can match all your outfits. She started another one. These are said 16-inch needles, both what she's knitting her sleeve on, because the sleeve is more open than mine.
Yeah. And I'm not decreasing. Like I don't like tight.
You like flowy sleeves.
Yeah. So it's just going to be.
This one was really interesting because it was basically like knit until you're at 11 inches or so straight and then decrease. When a lot of sweaters will start your decreases like up here and spread them out further and just keep decreasing. But then it gave me a nice little pucker. It's not as puckery as it was before I blocked it. It's all, the whole thing's relaxed a little, but it's very comfortable. Speaking of math, I'm going to have to, I really wanted to follow the pattern on this. I'm going to have to do some math and well, I did some math because my stay out of the woods. I want to call it stay out of the woods. It's stay out of the forest. And I know for the people who watch the podcast that might have been related to the inspiration for this will be like, of course it's stay out of the forest. I don't watch the podcast. I'm sorry. This one, it was written for 1,300 yards. And I went, oh yeah, that's what I have. Not really. I had 4 skeins of sport weight yarn that are maybe 330. 330 each. I did not math correctly on that before I started and just went, ooh, let's do it. That's just shy of, it called for 13, what did I say? 1,300 yards.
13 or 330 times 4 should get you close to 1,300.
Really close, but I think I'm gonna fall far short because I had to cut some skeins short to do the alternating rows, so I lost some yardage there. So pure math doesn't work out when you're changing colors and might not use a whole skein. But I have to put this on 2.
Do you need assistance?
Well, I'm just gonna hold it up like this because it's not really gonna. The needles aren't long enough to fully let this take the shape it needs to take. It's on 2 40-inch needles right now, just for picture purposes. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's awesome. I'm on the 3rd skein. I haven't made much progress since the last time I showed this off, but I'm supposed to have, see, there's 3 ridges right here. I'm supposed to have 6 of those before I head to the next section, which and every 4 rows you're adding like 12 to 16 plus stitches in at this point. This is about 50 grams left, about half this skein left, but I started this skein alternating rows right there, only right there. That doesn't look like it's very far away that I started this, right? And from this ridge on, I've been using only this color. I'm only going to get a few more passes in. It's using about 9 to 10 grams for every 2 rows.
And by the time you're done, it'll be like 12 to 15 grams.
Which is why if I only use 10 grams for the rest of the rows, I got this. This is my last color for it. It's going to look so pretty. I was calculating this morning, I might get 30 more rows out of this. But as it keeps getting bigger, it's going to use up more yarn. And then I have to have enough for the bind off. The pattern at this point needs about 50 more rows minimum to be finished. I might have yarn for 30 more rows, but as it gets bigger, no. I'm at about 440 stitches on this sucker right now. And it's supposed to get to 500 stitches before I start the next section, which, you can see like this little triangle, this triangle's a little smaller or a little bigger, then this triangle gets bigger. I might have to offset the balance a little bit because if I want to get to the last color and finish, I usually never change patterns because people need to know what they're going to get. But at this point, I'm bringing in these kits and people will need to know how to change it to get the most mileage if they want to make this shawl specifically. I think a lot of people could get a whole sweater set out of 4 skeins of this.
Oh yeah.
And then you can just, change them how you want, stripe them how you want. It's not a true like gentle fade. Like this is the closest it's coming to a gentle fade right here with these colors. These colors did not fade gently. So the idea of a fade where I'm seeing Miss Babs and others advertise fades where they literally are gradients of each other or specklies of each other. And that's not what this is. This is just beautiful color combinations from Spunky Sheep. I'm doing it in an alpaca, merino, and silk combo, but we will have the same colors available in just merino for a slightly more cost-effective option when they come in. You don't have to make this, but I'm going to play around with it so people know how to modify it if they want to make this. I mean, I should probably have switched on the last row to the transition section to make this work. I have to go look at the pattern to see how to modify it to start transitioning to the last section, because I think I'm going to get maybe 4 to 6 more rows before I should start alternating. I'd like to get 2 stripes of each before I change, but that's going to be a lot of math and a lot of putting it on the scale. That's the word I'm looking for. It's our Monday. Did we mention?
So Monday.
Speaking of, or just, you don't have to put it on a scale. You can just yarn chicken it. You can just say, do I have enough to go across? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. That's what I did with this guy. But this guy doesn't, I failed at yarn chicken on this for finishing a skein and starting the next one, but that's okay because it's all the same color. Now, when you're alternating colors, if you run out of yarn in the middle of a row, or you're like all the way over, you're changing at this end and you have to go over and back before you change to the other yarn. If you go over and get halfway back again and you're done right there.
There's my.
You have problems.
I changed.
You have choices to make.
I changed color on this every section.
Okay.
There are 6 sections, and I managed to cobble together 6 different yarns, and
you had one where
I had plenty of the grays. I had enough of the blue, and then this blue I had 2 skeins of, and I was like, I'm gonna make it with just one. I had 33 stitches on the very last row. So like that much on the very last row of that color. That was.
And you actually cracked into your second skein.
I put my second skein on the ball winder, opened it all up, crocheted out my 33 stitches, tied it all back together, twisted it back up. It'll be short for whatever project I need next, but
if she didn't have a second skein,
if I didn't have the second skein,
you could feasibly have started with your other color, which on screen looks like the same color, but it's not the same color.
Yeah.
So it's where is your I don't care bar?
Yeah.
And her I don't care bar was, at least for this project, I'm going to finish the row with the same color.
Yeah.
So this is my honey moss.
You've gotten lots.
Because once it hit the lace section, I just started flying because I love cables. This section is the cable section. I love cables, but cables slow me down because every other row, no, every 4th row on this one. My coat that's over there is every other row. Every 4th row on this, everything is cabled. Like you're cabling 4 stitches, you're taking 2 stitches off and knitting and 2 stitches back on. And you're instantly taking stitches off on the cable. That will slow you down. And even if you love cables, you will lose the will to knit potentially. That's what happened to me. But once I transitioned from cable to lace, now, and I would show you stretched out. It's a little tight on this needle, but I lost that yarn chicken and I haven't wound my next skein of yarn yet. So it's in the middle of a row. So I just have to show you this way. But yes, I am about halfway through ish the second repeat of a 40 row repeat on this. Isn't that lace lovely? I can't wait to block this because this is a little puckery right now. When you block it, everything will stretch and settle. I mean, I'm not going to vigorously pull on this necessarily, but it's going to show off the lace work to open it up a little bit more. I'm on this bandwagon of I need to finish things so I can start new things. And this one is coming along. I'm 3 skeins in right now. The pattern calls for potentially 5 skeins of worsted weight yarn, but think about how gorgeous and yummy, and for the few days left of winter, it will be wonderful to wrap myself up in this. And let's be honest,
you have like 2 months left.
Yeah, that too. But let's be honest, well into spring, I will be getting cold and wrapping myself up in something like this. So that is awesome and fun. And I need a longer cable for this anyway. Cord, whatever. I think I have a 60-inch size 8 tips on a 60-inch cord somewhere here in the shop because I don't think it's at home. So scavenger hunt if I have time. I don't think I'm going to have time. Life is too crazy when we're here at the shop. So probably won't have time. But this made some progress this weekend. I really was focusing mainly on this guy, right? And getting him done. But I had my morning meditations kind of forced me to venture off on tangents because I forced myself to try not to do the same thing every morning. So I worked on this longer than I should have yesterday because it was like, ooh, next section I can use color 6. So
tonight I'm going to pick up my Papillon because she is now ahead of me.
I was about to say Liz has graciously let me like catch up / get ahead. This is also in the middle of a row because I was like, ooh, I get to use the black, which is the bottom part here. But I almost fell asleep knitting it. So yeah, I had to put it down.
It's time to put it down if you're
so it wasn't quite that bad. But yeah, there were multiple reasons I was still up later than I should have yesterday. So I have to show this off by like letting it drape halfway in because I don't want to lose stitches off my needles here. But look at that. Isn't that pretty?
So cool.
And some of these colors look look dark on camera. They are different. They don't necessarily, I need really much brighter lights to show this off, but black, dark blue, lovely burgundy purple, deep teal, light aqua, and the pop of pink. I think the next section is pink actually.
That'll look really cool with
pink
the black.
right next to the black. Oh, it's gonna be so fun. So I'm doing, this is the Papillon shawl, and I'm doing the moth variation of it, which when you buy the pattern, it's an extra little print off at the end if you get off Ravelry. If you buy the pattern from us, I will email it to you, the purchase to you, or put it in your Ravelry library, and those 2 different things to print. You have to use them side by side to do the moth variation. I recommend doing the regular one first. This is my 4th one on needles, 3rd one I'm gonna hopefully finish. And if I've printed off a pattern to send to you, I haven't printed off the moth variation. So if you've bought it from us and you want to do the moth thing, contact us and we will send you the moth thing. But it needs to be in our records that you bought the pattern from us. So
the moth is there's modifications.
There's modifications you can choose to use or not.
She throws eyelets into the color separations in sections 1 and 2. Or section,
that's what the pink is in this.
And then there's eyes in the Pokemon balls at the end of the shawl. And you are almost to your Pokemon balls.
We call these the Pokemon balls right there. And in the next
Yeah.
section, you can put eyes in the middle of that.
Yeah.
I'm almost
She
to it.
she also has a, like, if you do a gradient pack or whatever, she tells you how to mix it up to make it look really cool.
And that's essentially what I'm doing, but it's not a true gradient. But we picked a range of the Aini colors that of what we have here in the shop that kind of like those
They
almost
kinda
look
work.
like the same color on camera. They're not.
She also has a coloring sheet
We just had fun with it.
that if
Well,
you're
so
like,
you can make up your own.
yeah, if you're like, hey, I want to customize this, she has it. All the sections are just white and blank, and you can go in and be like, I want to use this color for this row, and you can see how it turns out.
This is gonna be so nice. This is alpaca. The Amano Aini is alpaca and silk. It's a really light sport weight, so it's almost a fingering weight, which is what this is written for. And I don't know why I kind of stalled out on my third one, but this one's been fun. Maybe it's the friendly rivalry we have going, or maybe it's just because this is fun.
I could.
You will beat me because you're better at the last few rows. I've never done these little like faux picot edging cast off that is a bajillion stitches.
I whine and complain about it every time. Rebecca can attest to this fact. You go from 460 something stitches to 1,025 stitches before you bind off.
She's
That's
never
where your
mentioned
little
that to me before.
picot comes in. I put them on every single papillon that I've made because I like the look.
And she complains throughout the whole process. But it's beautiful.
I complain about purling. I complain about a lot. So
I'm going to try it on this one.
It'll look really cool.
And we'll see. There's so many different things I want to be working on right now. And part of the morning meditation forces me to go back and look at old projects. There's a few old projects I still have not touched because I haven't made any progress on them. And I'm like, in my mind, I think people are going to scroll all the way back through the feed to the last time it popped up and say, but it looks the same still. And that's because I have too many projects.
We all have so much time to scroll back through the feed and go.
Some people do. Some people, that's like their job, is to point out stuff like that. Not many. It's all good. Do you want to make that your job? Have fun.
No.
No, I was talking to the audience.
I have enough jobs.
No, she's got enough jobs, definitely. I noticed a pattern this weekend of a cowl that Miss Babs has just publicized that I may be making our own shop version of. So since I finished a project, I get to start one, right?
Sure.
I'm the boss, so yes. So, and I have all these long projects. I really would love a little short one. That will probably be the one I finish this weekend because I'm trying to finish a project a weekend.
That's why I put a hat on needles because like I could be done with this tonight at night.
But I'm gonna keep. Oh yeah, nice. I'm going to keep plugging at the bigger ones that I love that I want to finish as well. Like I was hoping to finish this guy this weekend, but he's getting longer. I will tell you the solution for me for if rows are feeling like they're getting too long and I'm losing the will to knit, I go work on a sweater that has 2 to 3 times the number of stitches on a row, and then this is a breeze. So
it'll feel like a breeze once you get to the end of section 3 on your papillon.
Are you saying it'll feel like a breeze? Oh, that will make other projects feel like a breeze. Yes.
Binding off 1,025 stitches generally does.
I was at the Saturday afternoon sit and stitch we had. I was down here. I had stalled out right there, and I picked it up when my hand started to hurt from this, and I've made progress. So, yeah, it's very exciting. And
finish a hat, work on a papillon.
You can
work on the papillon.
You can knock a papillon out in no time flat. You should work on your hat. You know I'm gonna work on my new cowl tonight, probably. So
yeah, but you're now like 2 sections further than me. So I should knock out like 3 sections just to.
Well, here's what you can. This is what I do. I set myself goals, and I say, okay, if I get through this much, like if I finish the skein of this, I can move on to this. And so set yourself a goal of getting 2 or 3 sections ahead of me, stripes ahead of me on the papillon, and then you can work on your hat. I'm not in charge of you at home. I think. Anyway, yeah. So come to knit night tonight to find out what happens. It's on Zoom. We had, by the way, speaking of Zoom and all that, we had a really wonderful virtual sit and stitch this weekend. We do the weekend ones once a month on Saturday afternoon from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was last weekend. The next one is now going to be March 20th. It's the same date, different month, because it just happens that the 20th falls on a Saturday, and it's 4 weeks from last Saturday. So so come to our next one, because I think our viewership on Facebook was up, like as it was happening, was pretty steady, which was wonderful. Even though we had bugs with Facebook Live, with people having trouble hearing me because the feed was not fluid. I think the if you want to go back and watch it, oh, lovely 4 hours of it. We have 2 different chunks because we tried restarting and it didn't really help. I think the recorded feed is okay. I haven't gone back and watched all of it, but it doesn't seem to have issues. It was the first time people were complaining that they really couldn't like hear me or understand me, but half of those people jumped over to Zoom. We had a good crowd over on Zoom, and Zoom wasn't having any issues. So, technology. I had my sister, shout out to Rachel. She may or may not watch this. I don't know. But she's like, well, why don't you try a different platform? Because they have problems with their church out in Illinois doing Facebook Live. That's the one that has the worst streaming issues. She's like, well, why don't you do like Twitch or might have been Patreon or one of those? And I was like, the reason we do Facebook Live is because our customers can find Facebook. And there might be some customers out there who are listening right now who are like, I would have no problem with Twitch. That'd be amazing. But we have other customers who Zoom is challenging enough or intimidating enough, shall we say. It's really not hard, but we get it if you're not comfortable with it.
We're trying to keep things consistent and
simplified.
Simple.
Yes. And Facebook, we already have a lot of you follow us on Facebook, so it's really easy to go to our Facebook channel and go, look, you're live, yay! I adding one more platform into the mix, I currently feel like is going to be a little too much. But if we keep having major issues, that was the first time. We've been doing this for like 8 months or so, which is insane. But that was the first time we've had major issues. So thank you all for sticking with us. And if it has issues next month, join us on Zoom. It's really fun. And if it keeps having major issues, if this is getting worse instead of better as time progresses, we may look into a different platform. We'll see. So
it's an option.
We could get a whole new crowd if we had a third platform, but I only have 2 devices. So,
I don't know.
Need a wealthy benefactor to get us another computer to stream on 3 different. Oh, I would probably have my brain ooze out my ears. So instead, come join us on Zoom tonight for Sit and Stitch. 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We use the shop phone number to get in. There's links on like Facebook and other places to get you right in, or in our comments to just click on it and enter. But if you have the Zoom app, you click join and you put in the shop phone number, which is 828-877-3550. And I'll let you in from the weight room when I notice that you're there. If I get distracted, you might have to sit for a few seconds. And unfortunately, we don't have weight room music yet. We haven't figured that out. But
Zoom needs weight room music.
Zoom needs to get on that. Zoom people, there you go. And so tonight we have Sit and Stitch. Friday night we'll have Sit and Stitch again from 6 to 9 p.m. In the meantime, tomorrow is the most dangerous day of the week.
Most dangerous day, and we never know what we're going to put up until tomorrow.
No idea. I have photographed one yarn, but I don't know if that's going to actually be talked about tomorrow. I might list it, but it might not be tomorrow's product of the week. We'll see. We'll talk about it, but we'll probably decide right before we go on air tomorrow. So you still have one more day to save on the acrylic major, which is wonderful for baby items and big blankets and things like that. Very cost effective and extra cost effective at 15% off.
Yes.
You also have until tomorrow to save on the faux fur, because it will get cold again. And all the Chowgu patina needles, the wood needles we finally got up from Chowgu. But you know that the red lace are my favorites. But if you like the wood ones, that's another option. So It all changes tomorrow. And then Thursday is Dear Becky and Lizzy. We have one question.
We have a question, which will be a fun question.
Which will be a fun one. Yeah. Anyway, no spoiler. No spoiler. Send us letters or emails if you would like us to wax poetic on something related to us or to knitting and crocheting.
You can send the letters to Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sundragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712. Yay! Don't ask me what the phone number is. I don't know.
I just said the phone number, so it's okay. Or you can email
Liz@sundragonartandfiber.com.
I'm making you earn your pay. Sorry, I made you say that too.
So, I have a feeling I'm going to be earning my pay with all of the online orders. Thank you.
Yes.
That we got over the weekend. And,
yes. And some of that's related to the sit and stitch. And people are benefiting from coming to the Saturday sit and stitch, and they will benefit through the end of the month.
Yes.
So that's all I'm going to say about that, because different groups we talk about different specials with.
If we get to 500 subscribers on this channel, subscribe, like I'll ring the bell, all that fun stuff. If we get to 500 subscribers, Rebecca's going to do a YouTube sale.
Yes,
and she won't post it anywhere else but YouTube.
There will be a code only for people on YouTube. And if you watch, you will know. And I might put it in the description, but it's more if you're watching, you'll pick up on it. But we need to hit 500 subscribers. We did have a sale for the anniversary of the shop that was only 10% for like the weekend, just for fun. It will definitely be more than 10% if we can hit 500 subscribers. And then every benchmark after that, we will entice you. Tell your friends to subscribe. All right. It's after 10 o'clock because we got started late. I'm always watching the clock over your shoulder.
I know.
Half the time I'm looking at her and half the time I'm looking at the clock. So we need to go get this ready for publication and get all the orders ready for people who need them, because the mail lady will come by soon and we might not have packages ready, which means they go out tomorrow. So we love you all. We miss you. Stay safe. Subscribe. Thanks for being part of the Sun Dragon community. And we hope, if we haven't met you yet, we get to meet you sometime in the future, whether it is virtually or in person where it's safe. So anyway, yep, we're gonna go. I'm gonna dig my mask out from underneath all this and make an appointment if you want to come into the shop. I know it's warm out, which means we can help you outside a little easier, but if you want to come in, you got to make an appointment. For the
wind does
future.
breeze on the patio, so
Man-made wind tunnel.
yes.
Bye.
Bye.